Nothing is wrong. You've checked. You're safe. You're home. Nothing bad is happening. And yet, your chest is tight. Your heart is going a little too fast. There's a knot in your stomach and a low, humming sense of dread, like something terrible is about to happen, even though you can't name a single thing it could be. So your mind starts hunting, scanning, looking for the threat, turning over every worry, trying to find the reason you feel so scared. And it can't find one, which somehow makes it worse. Why do you feel anxious when there's nothing to be anxious about? So tonight, let's answer that. Because that free-floating fear isn't a sign that you're crazy or weak or that something terrible is actually coming. It's a false alarm. And once you understand the alarm, you can finally learn to turn it down. First, the relief. It is not just you, and you are not broken. A huge number of people, by some surveys, around 4 in 10 young adults, feel anxious most of the time, for no reason they can point to. That tight, buzzing, on-edge feeling has become a background hum for an entire generation. So whatever this is, it is incredibly common, and it is not a personal defect. Your body is not malfunctioning. In fact, and this is the key to everything, your body is doing its job a little too well. So let's meet the thing that's doing it. Deep in your brain sits a small, ancient alarm, your threat detection system. Its entire job is to keep you alive by constantly scanning for danger, and the instant it senses one, flooding your body with stress chemicals to get you ready to survive. Heart pounding to pump blood to your muscles. Breath going fast and shallow. Senses sharpening, stomach clenching. This is the fear response, and for your ancestors facing real predators, it was perfect. The alarm screams, you run, you survive, and then, crucially, it switches off. Danger, then safety. But here's the problem with that alarm. It is old, it is blunt, and it cannot tell the difference between a real, immediate threat and a vague modern worry. To your nervous system, a stressful email, a scary headline, a looming bill, and a charging lion all look roughly the same. They all trip the alarm. And here's why your fear feels like it comes from nowhere. In the modern world, there is no single tiger. There's just a constant, low drizzle of small stressors. The news, the notifications, the deadlines, the money worry, the sheer pace of everything. None big enough to point at, but all of them, together, quietly keeping that alarm switched on. So your threat system never gets the all clear. It stays half-activated, all the time, humming in the background. Therefore you walk around with the physical sensations of fear, the tight chest, the racing heart, the dread, without any actual tiger to explain them. The alarm is going off. There's just no fire. It's a smoke detector so sensitive it shrieks at burnt toast. And now comes the loop that makes it so exhausting. And it's brilliant, in a horrible way. Your mind absolutely hates feeling fear it can't explain. An unexplained alarm is intolerable to the brain, so it does what it does best. It goes looking for a reason. It starts generating worries to match the feeling. Maybe it's that thing I said. Maybe it's my health. Maybe something bad is coming. It manufactures threats to justify the dread. But here's the trap. Every worry it invents feels like fresh evidence of danger, which tells the alarm, see, I was right to be scared, which makes the alarm louder, which makes you hunt for more threats. Therefore you spiral. The fear creates the worry, and the worry feeds the fear, round and round. You're not anxious because you're worrying. You're worrying because you're anxious, and your mind got the order backwards. And we pour fuel on it without even realizing. That coffee you drank? Caffeine literally produces the physical symptoms of anxiety. Racing heart, jitters, and your brain reads those sensations as danger, cranking the alarm higher. The doom scrolling before bed feeds your threat system a nonstop diet of things to fear. The shallow chest breathing you do all day signals emergency to your body. The lack of real rest means the alarm never gets a chance to reset. So you've got an oversensitive alarm, marinating in things that mimic and amplify fear, with no off switch in sight. No wonder it never goes quiet. And there's one more cruel talent anxiety has. It lies about the future. Anxiety is, at its core, fear of something that hasn't happened. And your brain is genuinely terrible at telling the difference between an imagined disaster and a real one. When you vividly picture the worst-case scenario, your body reacts as if it's happening right now, flooding you with the same fear chemicals a real event would. So you end up living through catastrophes that exist only in your head, paying the full emotional price for them, over and over. And here's the thing worth tattooing on your brain. The overwhelming majority of the things we anxiously predict never actually happen. We spend enormous energy bracing for disasters that simply never arrive, suffering twice for things we'll usually only suffer once, if at all. Your anxious mind presents its worries as forecasts, as cold, hard predictions of what's coming. But they're not forecasts. They're just thoughts, passing weather, generated by an overactive alarm, not glimpses of the future. You are not your anxious thoughts, any more than you're the smoke from a too sensitive detector. You can notice the thought, feel the fear it stirs, and still gently remind yourself, this is a feeling, not a fact. A possibility my brain invented, not a prophecy. Most of what it warns me about will never come. That small distinction between a thought and the truth is one of the most freeing things a worried mind can learn. And this is where it gets genuinely heavy. Because living with a constant, low-grade dread is exhausting in a way that's hard to explain to anyone who hasn't felt it. The 3 a.m. wake-ups with your heart pounding. The inability to fully relax even when everything's fine. The feeling of being unsafe inside your own body, like you can't trust your own nervous system. And the loneliness of it, because from the outside, nothing's wrong. So how do you explain that you're terrified of nothing? You start to feel like a stranger to yourself. That's the real weight of anxiety. Not any single fear, but the endless, sourceless hum of them. So, take a breath, and actually, that's not just a figure of speech, as you'll see in a second. Here's the turn. The feeling is a false alarm. It is not a prophecy. The dread is not evidence that something bad is coming. It's just an old, overprotective system firing with no fire. You are safe, right now, even though your body doesn't feel safe. And that gap between being safe and feeling safe is the whole thing. Here's the most important part. You cannot think your way out of it, because the alarm doesn't live in your thoughts. It lives in your body. Arguing with anxiety, trying to logic it away, just keeps you in the worry loop. You can't reason with a smoke alarm. But you can do something better. You can speak to your body in the only language it understands, safety. And that's where it gets surprisingly doable. Your breath is the one part of this system you can control directly, and it's a back door into the alarm. When you breathe out slowly, longer than you breathe in, you send a direct physical signal to your nervous system that the danger has passed. It's safe to stand down. A few minutes of slow exhales can genuinely begin to quiet the alarm, not by arguing with it, but by soothing it. You can also ground yourself in your senses. Name what you can see, hear, touch right now, to pull your brain out of the imagined future and back into the safe present. And you can cut the fuel. Less caffeine, less doom scrolling, more real rest. You're not fighting the fear. You're gently telling an overprotective alarm, thank you, I see you, but we're okay. And it listens. But before any of that, here's what I most need you to hear. Feeling anxious does not make you fragile, or weak, or broken. It means you have a vigilant, deeply caring brain that is working overtime, desperately, tirelessly, to keep you safe. It's not malfunctioning. It's overprotective. People who feel this often are frequently the ones who care the most, who notice everything, who feel things deeply. And that sensitivity, the very thing that makes the alarm so loud, is also what makes you thoughtful and kind and awake to the world. And consider this. You have been carrying an invisible weight that no one around you can even see, getting up and showing up anyway, every single day, while a false alarm screams in the background. That is not weakness. That is one of the quietest, most underrated kinds of strength there is. You're not fragile. You're a sensitive system running on too little safety, and that can be turned down. So tonight, when the dread shows up out of nowhere, try something different. Don't fight it, and don't go hunting for the threat. Just breathe out, slowly, longer than you breathe in. And gently tell your body the truth it's been waiting all day to hear. We're safe. It's a false alarm. This feeling is real, but it isn't a warning, and it will pass. It always passes. You don't have to be afraid of being afraid. You just have to remind a tired, overprotective part of you that, right now, in this moment, you are okay. And if that sourceless, buzzing dread is something you carry too, you are genuinely not alone in it. There's a whole crowd of us, learning to soothe the alarm, together. So stick around. We make these for nights like this. Take care of yourself. And breathe. You're safer than you feel.